Okay, well, we're going to find out shortly here what these blind composition picks are for both Skill Capped and Ad Hoc Gaming. It's game number 1 of the day. Once again, starting off in the European region, and then we're going to be dropping down to North America. It's game number 1 here.
All right, here we go. What are we going to see? A Resto Druid coming up from the side of Skill Capped with the Frost Mage variant of the Shadow Priest Mage composition, and Ad Hoc Gaming as expected. That Beast Mastery Hunter we saw Cassidy owning it up, or sorry, Facile owning it up yesterday, and Jellybeans owning it up yesterday on this Beast Mastery. Is Skill Capped ready for the animal?
We'll have to see, I guess. They're going to be bringing in Maro on the Frost Mage, Froffsy on that Shadow Priest, and of course Asgrath on that Restoration Druid. And I think one of the ideas about this is hunters in general are pretty strong into Fire Mages. Just having the Roar of Sacrifice on your pet, that crit immunity is a direct counter to combustion. So I think I personally prefer playing the Frost Mage into these hunter compositions, and I think that's kind of the idea Skill Cap is going with as well. You don't have to deal with that crit immunity nearly as much, and they can try to make it happen in potentially a long game. It looks like Ad Hoc Game. Look at Cassidy. He's drinking. Normally that's the healer, healer role to take on, but he's going to just be sipping. He's getting ready for the long game. It could be one of those things where they feel like we don't really need to make a play until dampening. Actually, Cassidy's going to be moving forward now, so putting a little bit of damage here onto Froffsy. Let's see what they can get done. Nice Ring of Frost there by Maro, playing a little bit of defense. Ice Form is active, and Facile and Cassidy are just going to run away. They don't want to have anything to do with that offensive cooldown, and they're just going to try to play as safely as possible.
Yeah, and we'll see how this game ends up going later on, who the target will be. So far it's been Froffsy. Cassidy now caught up in a stun into a DR Bash here with the Frozen Orb active, just trades out the Bark Skin. Maro trying to reset his Ice Form here, and he has been able to. Here comes potential big damage coming out of Maro. You're going to go after him actually there a little bit, but Cassidy just going to duck back. He doesn't want to go onto anybody who's too far away from Relzah. So whenever Maro pushes in like that and runs towards his side of the map, Cassidy is just going to be running back and attacking whatever he can. Asgrath playing that Feral Affinity, also now building up his combo points, getting ready for a main stun potentially. And Cassidy just playing very, very aggressively here in terms of positioning. But the big story of this game is going to be the mana. How are Ad Hoc Gaming going to push through those cooldowns? They're probably going to just require a lot of dampening, and then they're going to go for a big, big push and save their mana for that moment a little bit later on in the match. Right now, they're just trying to bait some cooldowns here. I see a big swap here onto Cassidy once again with that Psychic Horror. Maro going to look for a sheep here, but he's not able to find it just yet. Relzah positioning very far away. And once again, just it's all about that mana management. And Asgrath's mana actually not doing super well right now, Sid.
Yeah, I mean, the Resto Druid is definitely falling behind. Asgrath will need to drink, I think, in this matchup. One thing I'm still looking out for here on the side of Skill Capped is Froffsy. Whenever Froffsy is casting Mind Games, that is the scariest moment for Ad Hoc Gaming. We saw earlier Facile use a counter shot to negate Mind Games from going off, but if Mind Games does find its target, which is likely Cassidy, it will prevent a lot of the self-sufficiency that the Feral Druid brings to the table. A lot of healing will be removed. So if they can lock down that Mind Games and stay on target, they do have potential to just run Asgrath out of mana at this point. Relzah is doing an excellent job maintaining at almost 100% mana, but here comes Crowd Control. Where's the Mind Games out from Froffsy? He's just in Void form, blasting out damage. They're swapping to Facile for a moment, trying to spread their pressure and trying to run the Priest out of mana, but that's going to be quite difficult at this point. It seems like with Cassidy's off healing those regrowths, they're not able to even dent the mana bar. Nice freezing trap on Asgrath, the Skull Bash on Maro. Froffsy's in a 3-on-1 behind the pillar, trying to heal himself back up with some Shadow Ments, managing to deal with that crowd control chain effectively. Cassidy just jumping over to Asgrath a little bit, poking him, trying to make sure that he stays in combat as well. It can be difficult to drink against a Beast Mastery Hunter as they can just send those pets. There's a Mind Games on the Cassidy. No crowd control. Relzah just dispels it immediately. Nice counter. Now Mind Games is out of the way. If I was Ad Hoc Gaming, I would be looking to get aggressive.
Yeah, absolutely. At this point, I mean, Ad Hoc Gaming, they've got the mana lead. Asgrath, if he can't sit down for a drink, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. Decent damage here on Cassidy. Rapture shields from Relzah should be more than enough for him to survive. Facile can just kind of play in the back line, send in his pets, play it with the safety of this pillar. I think that's one thing. It's just really difficult to take down the Beast Mastery Hunter if he's not pushing in for crowd control. He can just kind of take this very defensive position. Now potentially looking for a flare to shut down the drink, but he can't find Asgrath. He's so close, yet so far. Azrath now going for the rake stun and goes completely to full mana. I mean, that was basically as close as you can get without hitting the target. Very unfortunate there for Facile.
Yeah, that flare was definitely just about an inch away from getting Asgard there. But that's going to be good news here for Skill Cap. We're about to hit dampening in about 20 seconds. And now they're going to have that mana completely equalized here between the healers. Cassidy here needs to be a little bit careful. And this is kind of like what we were talking about with Integrity Damp yesterday. Jungle is going to not do too badly here with a little bit of dampening, about 20%, 25% maybe even, up to that point. But it's going to snowball very, very fast. Once you get to the late stages of dampening, 40% plus, those damage over time effects from Froffsy are really going to start taxing Relzah's mana. And that's when you're not going to be able to see this kind of gameplay where Cassidy can just sit out in midfield and do whatever he wants the whole game. So definitely going to be a big hit to the hybrid healing. It's going to be a big hit to Relzah's kind of healing with damage with Trinity. And for the jungle, they need to try to build up an advantage before you get to that point. So if they can, it would be ideal for them to try to shut down Asgrath, or at least get like a dispersion or something when Asgrath is going for these drinks. Right now he's sitting down for one. There's the Psychic Horror onto Cassidy. Gets dispelled by Relzah. They're going after Maro, but once again, Asgrath able to get full mana there. No one able to stop him really on the side of Ad Hoc Gaming. So Skill Cap looking better and better in this matchup so far.
All right, let's see if they can hold on into deep dampening here. Cassidy getting blasted back, ducking into bear form, trying to help heal with that frenzied regeneration. Still taking huge hits from Maro. Maro has been doing a ton of damage on this Frost Mage build, resetting that ice form, almost 100% uptime, but he is running that build that you've critiqued multiple times where it's Incanters instead of Rune of Power. And in this matchup, I feel like the Rune of Power would have gotten a ton of value as well, just amplifying the damage by a huge margin so frequently to get big Frost Bolts. Maybe he's worried that he would have been the target. He would have had to be moving too much in this matchup, but it seems like they're allocating everything to Froffsy as he gets blasted. Asgrath tries to make a trade. Ironbark may not be enough. They're just biting right through it. Ring of Frost protecting Froffsy from all those pets, dinosaurs and T-Rexes, lion, tigers, and bears. Oh my. We can see Facile and Relzah pulling back to the pillar. Cassidy up the opposite side of the map right now, all by himself. Managing to jump back into the midfield now. Relzah dispelling off some incoming damage. Asgrath jumping forward for a bash on the Cassidy. A scary moment when the Feral Druid is in a stun lock and not able to help the Disciplined Priest out with any healing. They managed to survive the bash with a bark skin. They're getting back onto the Shadow Priest. I like the spread pressure, hitting the Mage and the Shadow Priest. This is a good tactic to run the Resto Druid out of mana. However, during Innervate now, unlikely to do so. Doesn't look like anyone's going to be able to get in range to dispel it either. Asgrath getting big value out of the Innervate on this push.
Yep, right now, free healing for Asgrath, 15% dampening. Things are just going to get really unstable for both of these teams. As like you mentioned, for Cassidy, a lot of the healing from Ad Hoc Gaming does come from the Feral Druid, so it becomes a lot more difficult for him to kind of sit in the open, get damage out, and also keep his health stable as dampening goes higher. So I think that's kind of what Skill Cap are playing for here, while they're not too concerned. But it seems like with the playstyle of both these teams, they both kind of feel like maybe they're favored in dampening, or maybe that's just kind of the nature of this matchup. Maro's going to be looking to blast Cassidy away, potentially looking for a Polymorph, interrupting Relzah. Shadow Meld, nicely done there by Relzah, avoiding that incoming Polymorph. Now, hopefully, someone can get an interrupt. There's a silence on Relzah right now, getting out of line of sight. No crowd control for Maro, and Ad Hoc Gaming stay alive.
Yeah, and Relzah still looking pretty good in terms of mana. Asgrath is still tied with him, and now you just need to get that pressure here if you're Ad Hoc Gaming. If Asgrath ever goes to sit down for a drink, you need to get pressure on the Froffsy, you need to get pressure on the Facile. Froffsy actually using his human racial right there to break out of that stun, and Asgrath now sitting back for a drink. So is Relzah though, so they're trading drinks here, I believe, but I don't think Relzah is actually able to get it. Maybe Maro's putting him in combat here. There's a Shadow Crash there as well. No, he is gaining mana now from that drink. So it was just sitting down there for those initial ticks where it's a little bit slower, but Relzah is going to get mana. Asgrath is also going to get mana. 24% dampening here. And I mean, everybody has all of their cooldowns here. Pretty big hit there onto Cassidy. Another one with the ice form of Maro, but still no real threat here. No big cooldowns being exchanged. Maro Good drop into kill shot range. Needs to be extremely careful. There it is. Ice block gonna come out here for Maro. He's got the power infusion now though. Obviously we can get aggressive, but Ad Hoc Gaming just gonna take that ice block and then go back to the pillar here, reset once again. Now I'm not sure if they have that much time. We're already at 27% dampening, and it's gonna get more and more difficult for them to actually be able to stay out in the open. So I don't know how long they're able to wait at this pillar, but for now they do get ahead with that ice block.
All right, the lead for Ad Hoc Gaming here, and with how high dampening is, I don't think Maro will ever see that second ice block again for the rest of this first game. A dicey situation already. Cassidy trying to lead the charge, actually just pulling away from the frozen orb. I like this retreat tactic from Ad Hoc. Get a couple bleeds up, then when they see offensive cooldowns, retreat back to the pillar and heal up. Just a hit and run playstyle. But now Cassidy's getting caught. He's just absolutely getting crushed at the moment from raw pressure out from skill capped. Relzah's in a full polymorph. Cassidy needs to get out of there. He can't. He's stunned up. Pre-survival instincts. Is that going to be enough to survive? Big flurry combo comes in. Cassidy, I think, shadow melding there for a moment to try and immune that, but now interrupted on a heal. Relzah breaks out to try and help out. Facile is basically just soloing Maro, trying to get pressure while Cassidy runs for the hills. Relzah now used Medallion to escape that crowd control chain and won't have that for another 2 minutes. Froffsy taking some heat here. They have options. They need to make a decision which cooldown to allocate. They've got Ring of Frost on the Feral Druid, and the Feral Druid Cassidy is running away, so no cooldown's going to trade in this position. Cassidy has just been pinned at the pillar, unable to really attack or get any pressure out for the better part of a minute straight.
Yeah, now into a bash, forced to trinket. Cassidy is incredibly vulnerable in the situation. There's no barf skin, no survival instincts, no nothing. They got to try to find some offense. Just being pinned at the pillar in a blizzard in snares is not the position you really want. While playing very aggressive, getting a full polymorph onto Relzah. Cassidy, how is he going to survive this? A stun comes in. Does he have frenzied regen? Looks like he does have the barf skin, so let's see if he opts to use it or just going to use the safety of that line of sight the best he can. Cassidy's still just eating frost bolts, power infusion, massive damage. I think he's going to get dropped. Cyclone on Relzah. He's so low, and he will go down. Skill capped at 39% dampening. It got to the point in the game where Cassidy could no longer be aggressive. He just had to line of sight in order to survive, and at that point, it was just all skill capped in terms of momentum.
Yeah, I don't know. He had that bark skin there at the end. It might have been able to keep him alive, but this is kind of the point in the game that we were talking about. Once you get to that 40-ish percentage mark, it becomes really difficult to just keep yourself alive, and that's when skill capped composition is really going to start coming online.
Online. Ooh. All right, here is the match results. Kind of a longer game to start off the day as well. 40% dampening. Skill Cap to you taking that first victory. Do we feel like that's going to be the same pacing we're going to see for the rest of this matchup, Supatees?
I think we're going to go to small maps that the Druid won't be able to drink on, and Cassidy will be able to get to Pillar more easily. I do think on the smaller maps that this is not going to be as maybe... It wasn't even really one-sided. It was kind of just like he randomly fell over. Like, they had cooldowns. Yeah. They weren't responding. It was just kind of like this slow, awkward death. Like, hey, maybe I could die here. Should we have pressed something? I don't know, dude. Oh, it's too late. Okay. Game 2, I guess, and try again, because they had buttons that I guarantee would have kept them alive a little bit longer. And the pressure that they had, I think we're going to see it right at the end here. Look at the cooldowns. Relzah has pain suppression. Relzah has barrier. He can't press those while he's in a polymorph. So Cassidy is just running. Cassidy's bark skin comes up in 2 seconds. So like right here, bark skin maybe. It's ice form. It's power infusion. Still bark skin. Relzah can't really do anything. So Cassidy's just being greedy. And then he pops Berserk randomly and tries to kill the Shadow Priest while Maro is just free casting. It just seemed like during that whole chain, if Cassidy had just used bark skin, they would have lived. Even just that alone, they would have lived, and that game would have continued on. And I don't think it's a guarantee that skill capped actually wins in dampening.
I mean, that's pretty good for them. They're, facing off against the #1 seeded team right now, and they're able to hold their own in game number 1. If we do head to a smaller map here, and we do see a victory from Ad Hoc Gaming, then Supatees, it sounds like you think that they could potentially win a game on a larger map here against skill capped.
A smaller map, I think. Larger map, I think the Feral's going to have too hard of a time connecting. But on a smaller map where they can easily line of sight, they can keep the Druid in combat. Remember at the start of the game that drink that the Flare missed? If that Flare didn't miss and they had managed to stop Asgrath from drinking, they probably could have won this game as well. So small maps that stop the Druid from drinking. Relzah didn't drink, I don't think, at all in that game. It wasn't necessary. Not the smallest one, actually. They're going to Dalaran. That's a bit odd when I'm looking at it, but it's still not the worst. And I think as long as they can find Asgrath, stop him from drinking, and just use cooldowns, basically, right? Like, they had cooldowns to use. They actually can still win this.
Okay, well, we're seeing compositions being locked in right now. We're seeing Maro stick with that Frost Mage. Not something we've seen a whole lot of in Shadowlands. It clearly worked out for them in game number 1, though, Ven. How do we like Maro sticking to that spec?
I like I said, I like it a lot, especially against the Hunter. When you're playing with the Shadow Priest, it's just way like the way I kind of look at the matchup is when you're playing Fire, you really need to win in those burst windows. The consistent damage is a little bit lower, but your burst is super duper high. The problem is against Hunter, they have Roar of Sacrifice, which makes a target immune to crits, and that's really good when you have 100% crit. So it's hard to get out that damage when you need it. Whereas with the Frost Mage, there's a few things I'm noticing. Number one, he doesn't have to deal with that crit immunity. Well, it still exists. It's just not as punishing to the Frost Mage. In addition to that, Maro's putting a lot of emphasis on crowd controlling the pets. So using his pet freeze on the BM pets, using his own Nova on the pets, using Ring of Frost on the pets to really slow down damage and momentum. So pay attention to that in the next game, because when you get control of those pets, Facile is going to be doing a lot less damage. And I think that's kind of what they're looking for. And also, Ad Hoc Gaming, when they're retreating and hiding behind the pillar, it's a lot better to be a Frost Mage dropping blizzards and frozen orbs and keeping them pinned down, as opposed to just not being able to really do much on that Fire Mage.
All right, we'll definitely keep an eye out on Maro here, especially when they head over to those pillars right here in Dalaran Sewers. It's game number 2. Skill Cap DU potentially putting themselves on match point in this best of 5 series, or is Ad Hoc Gaming going to tie this one up and put themselves back in the match?
So one of the interesting things here about Dalaran for skill capped is that you have a ZY axis here. So if you are the target from a BM hunter, one kind of good way to survive, aside from rooting the pets and crowd controlling them, is you can just go to the middle of between the stairs and the box, and then just jump down, and the pet has to walk all the way around, and you can just walk up the other side and then jump down again. You can actually kite the pets very effectively on this map just by taking a couple of steps. So this map, it's gonna backfire maybe a little bit for the BM Hunter, but this is a great map still for Ad Hoc Gaming here. They're gonna, like Sid already mentioned, be able to shut down the Druid drinks, which I think is the big thing here for them. And here, Polymorph actually gonna connect onto Relzah, and I actually think Relzah is gonna be the target here. They kick the mind games. Can they get another Polymorph? Maro lands it. If I'm on skill cap here, we swap to Relzah 100% out of these sheeps, because Cassidy is playing way too defensive. Facile is playing super defensive. Relzah is not going to get swapped. He's just going to walk back to the pillar there. I guess they didn't have a frozen orb there to swap with. Maybe they didn't want to risk Asgrath positioning. Nice leap of faith there by Froffsy. Facile actually not able to land the trap. Actually, did he use the trap or not? I'm not sure. We're going to see it. No, he held on to it. Very nicely done there by Facile. That's going to be the ice block of Maro there. Nice psychic scream from Relzah. Nice CC chain. And it nets them the ice block here. Everybody's still with all cooldowns on the side of Ad Hoc Gaming, and they still have full mana. Froffsy in a little bit of trouble now as well, and this game is going to be a lot more fast-paced, I think.
Yeah, I think Ad Hoc Gaming playing more aggressive is very important. I mean, before dampening, there's a huge amount of healing available on this team. Like, we saw Cassidy almost as much healing as Relzah in the first game. So just play aggressive when dampening isn't reducing the feral healing. Eliminate mind games is an option which can outplay your healing and just get traps, do damage. Just play a standard game. I think they felt like they really needed to make it into deep dampening, but I think Ad Hoc Gaming can at least play a more medium-paced game. Here comes the mind games. They need to stop it. Facile stops it. Froffsy still moves in for more crowd control. Another mind games attempt. Cassidy shadow melding it. Another mind games gets interrupted. Good shutdowns on Froffsy during this time. Ad Hoc do exactly what they need to. Now it's time to get aggressive. Jump on the mage. Get some crowd control on Asgrath. They're going to stun Asgrath. Look for a freezing trap. Mass Dispel. No one can stop it. Nice Mass Dispel from Froffsy. Good response to the offense of Ad Hoc.
Yeah, Maro with this ice form is just, it's difficult to take him down. Kind of squishy in terms of health, but at the same time, that immunity to stuns. Maro getting low, big heal coming in from Asgrath to keep him alive. But when an ice form is active, it does make you immune to stuns, so you don't have that same kind of lockdown you normally would. And it's an incredibly short cooldown with all the conduits and talents and Covenant that Maro is playing. So that will be active a lot of the game, which makes him very slippery. But still, I think he's a great target. I mean, look at mana. Asgrath has had to commit quite a bit. He's going for a drink right now. Facile just chasing him, trying to keep him in combat, and manages to find the flare this time, keeping Asgrath in combat. Still not sitting down for a drink off the corner of the screen. You can kind of see that. Pet is on top of him as well. So great job. This small map if they can stop Asgrath from drinking, keep up the pressure in these early stages of the game, I feel like this one is going to be going great for Ad Hoc Gaming.
Yep, so far they're building up a nice lead here in terms of cooldowns and in terms of mana. Asgrath, though, just popped his Iron Bark, and Druids love to go for a drink right after they use that. But Facile putting Asgrath in combat here, making it very difficult for him. Cassidy caught up in a Ring of Frost. It gets dispelled. Maro now blinking back to a more defensive positioning. They're going for Facile here with a bash. Nice little shatter combo there by Maro, but Facile trading out the Master's Call right there, so he's going to be free from those Novas. Asgrath in a stun. No trap to follow it up, though, and Relzah can't get a fear there either because Froffsy feared him first, so nicely done there by Froffsy to shut down that setup. They're not going to find the freezing trap, but they have a lot of pressure still with the damage. Nice shackle there by Froffsy, I do believe, on one of those pets as well. So those pets are undead, so you can only Ring of Frost them and shackle them. You can't polymorph them. Facile taking a lot of damage here, forced into the aspect of the turtle, and this is a moment where Skillcap has pressure and where Asgrath most likely is going to be looking for the drink. Cassidy, what are you going to do about it? He's going for Maro here, trying to build up some pressure. They need to stop Asgrath from drinking. Where's the flare? They connect the flare. Asgrath, though, able to basically get full mana in that drink right next to Ad Hoc Gaming there. Big blunder once again here. You can tell Cassidy does not look happy with that.
This is why I don't like the map. I feel like it's too big. Playing on the bottom and the top side, like you said, the pets aren't going to be able to move the map and navigate the map effectively, and there's way too many areas for Asgrath to sneak away. If anything, this is one of the harder maps to actually stop a drink on. Asgrath right now could easily just move to the other side of the map and say, all right, Froffsy, use Disperse, I'm drinking to full mana if it's absolutely necessary. So I'm not the biggest fan. It's not impossible, but I think Hook Point would have been a lot better of an option, and maybe even Runes of Lord. Maybe this is tough. It's a tough call. Hook Point is definitely the better choice, but they have 2 map selections, so I do imagine they'd go there next. Facile stunned up, Cassidy taking damage, trying to help out with some regrowth. Relzah finally out of crowd control. They're going after Maro and Froffsy at the same time, but Maro now has 2 ice blocks. Asgrath has a decent amount of mana. This is a stressful position for Ad Hoc Gaming, already being 1 point down in the series. They cannot afford to lose on their map selections because you better bet your bottom dollar that we're going to Empyrean Domain and we're going to be going to Ashamane's Fall. And on those maps, good luck, have fun stopping Asgrath from drinking. And this Frost Mage Maro is going to free cast and do a ton of damage. We've seen Facile dip to 10% at random intervals, and his defensive cooldowns are completely blown out. Asgrath is just drinking, having a tea party downstairs while his team is just tanking his opponents. Asgrath gets a ton of mana off that drink, but now needs to recover. Trading Iron Bark. I like the split pressure. Asgrath, nice allocation of cooldowns. Iron Bark on Froffsy, but Nature's Swiftness on the Mage, splitting his cooldowns, allowing him to recover 2 targets effectively. But Asgrath now stunned up. Is there a freezing trap? Nice freezing trap. Interrupt onto Froffsy. Good crowd control. They're trying to go after Maro, but Cassidy can't really get there. He's just getting back to Froffsy at the moment. Asgrath into the fear. Maro just still getting pumped by Facile. A lot of damage available. These flayed shots, kill shot procs are doing a ton of damage, and they're actually going to net an ice block. Good pressure out from Facile. And I almost do wonder, maybe in dampening, if Cassidy just avoids the fight and lets Facile do some of the hard carrying, because Facile's damage feels like it's kind of doing all the work at the moment.
Yeah, I feel like as long as Cassidy gets those bleeds up, then it's probably true. And we're seeing Maro heavily pressured in the match so far. Kind of stable at this point at 10% dampening, but mana going to be relatively even. I feel like Relzah should be able to hold on and sustain a little bit longer than Asgrath, if neither one of these healers are to drink at this moment. Maro right now just continuously dragging away. It's just for the side of Skillcap, they're constantly running as a unit, just trying to overextend targets, bait them into the open. Like Cassidy, for example, right now. It's great to just hit him, do as much damage as you can, and just continuously run away. Try to create space, make it difficult for Relzah to push in and get fears, and basically force Relzah to put him into position where he is able to get crowd controlled. So that's what they're trying to do in terms of positioning. For Ad Hoc Gaming, they kind of have to push the pace. Relzah, if he can sneak away, if it looks like Cassidy and Facile are fine, that's when he can kind of just sit back and drink. And Skillcap hasn't really done a great job shutting that down. And I feel like if they keep allowing Relzah to get these resets on his mana, it's going to be difficult for them to pushing forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of that, they just got Asgrath's Trinket right there, and they did also stop the drink of Asgrath there on the side of Ad Hoc Gaming. Relzah's mana has been going up as well in the last minute, so Relzah finding a little bit of a drink there potentially, and just managing his mana really well here at 70% dampening. Asgrath, actually nice fleshcraft there on the freezing trap of Facile. He actually does get that, and now Facile potentially getting thrown into the cyclone. No, it's on Relzah. Big pressure here onto Cassidy and onto Facile potentially as well. Get a DR cyclone here onto Relzah. Facile taking a lot of damage, forced into the aspect of the turtle, and as soon as they get that CC, as soon as they get that pressure, look at Asgrath already on the other side of the map looking for the drink. Cassidy honestly should be the one stopping this one, but he has no idea where Asgrath is. Asgrath's going to come back, getting a little bit of a drink, immediately pop that Nature Swiftness, preventing Froffsy from having to use his own defensive cooldowns, and now he's going to get that recovery on his teammates and look for another drink. That's basically the Druid's job. You just spam heal, then you run for the drink as soon as your team gets CC or as soon as you land a Cyclone, and you just try to keep doing that until your teammates can find a CC chain or find the pressure that they need to actually end the match. And I gotta agree a little bit with Sid here. I think just having Facile just set up a pillar and just have his pets hit somebody is a great way for them to get pressure, and just have Cassidy go for restarts, go in, bleed somebody up, and then just run away. Because I do think they could play a deep dampening game here and come out ahead if they are able to do that effectively. But we'll see what they end up doing here. Facile so far, no defensive cooldowns, freezing trap secured onto Asgrath, no trigger for 10 seconds. Froffsy could have to use his first dispersion of the game here. Nice counter spell there on the Cyclone. Froffsy going for the Master Spell. Cassidy trying to pre-cast the Cyclone on it, but gets shut down by Maro's counterspell. And now once again, skill cap looking like they're in control. Asgrath also looking for a drink.
All right, if he gets full mana here, they're going to have 2 ice blocks in 26 seconds. This is a good position for skill cap. They've had pressure throughout. Aspect of the turtle forced 2 times on Facile. Damage on Cassidy as well. Relzah trying to stay ahead here. Facile moving next to Relzah. Cassidy is cycloned up in midfield, not able to assist at all right now. Froffsy just loading up damage. Asgrath didn't get nearly as much mana as I thought he was. Maro's getting bitten at the moment. Big ferocious bite coming through. He's trying to soul shape downstairs. Frozen orb onto Facile. Trying to get some counter pressure with the ice form. Facile going to disengage out of the frozen orb, get back to the pillar over here with Cassidy. Cassidy landing an interrupt onto Froffsy. Facile trying to sneak up on Asgrath, but not able to get there. He gets slowed by this blizzard. Good positioning. Now Cassidy stunned up at low health. Stunned up once again. Facile caught in a ring of frost, but Frossy's getting blasted down by the bestial wrath. Asgrath is feared away. Ad Hoc Gaming trying to make a turnaround. Froffsy makes a good trade. Asgrath recovers. Now Relzah's holding strong here at the pillar with his team. Getting cleaved down a bit though by the blizzard. Trying to push away and get back out there and do some damage, but not able to get too much. Finally some damage on Maro, but he's got 2 ice blocks again. Innervates up for Asgrath. He's getting a ton of value healing at the moment. His innervates have been pretty much perfect throughout this. He stays out of range of the purge, maximizes very expensive spells like Thorns and Wild Growth to try and recover. Even though despite that, dampening's pretty high, his team isn't completely recovered. Facile's moving in on the left on the bottom, trying to sneak forward. Relzah getting targeted a little bit here, but I don't imagine he's going to be the primary target. Cassidy is likely to be, or Facile. And Facile's just hammering away at Maro, trying to break down all those barriers, get through the defense, force these last ice blocks of the game. We're at 11 minutes in here, and there's really no turning back.
I mean, at this point, it's going to be really difficult for Relzah to get a full reset. And this is the point in the game on Nagrand that we kind of saw a little bit of a shift in strategy and momentum. Cassidy just no longer can really push in. Let's see, though. Froffsy going to be taking a huge hit of damage. Stun onto Asgrath, but that crowd control will fade. Maro getting bursted down. A bit of a split strategy coming in from the side of Ad Hoc Gaming. A lot of pressure.
Mind games.
Froffsy needs to be very, very careful. He's getting bursted down, going for mind games, but forced into the dispersion. Ad Hoc Gaming feel like they go for it. This is Barkskin. Silence now on Relzah, though. Could be in some trouble. Ice form available for Maro, just pumping out a lot of damage if he can get those casts off. Unfortunately, not able to right now. Cassidy just pushing forward. They want to take down Froffsy on this small map. Facile looking for crowd control. He gets gripped away. A full trap does land, though. Did Master Spelled or he trinkets? So he trinket Iron Barks. Big objectives out of the way. 43% dampening. Both of these teams are going to be feeling incredibly unstable for the time being.
Yeah, but honestly, it's Froffsy's going to be the one on the back foot. He doesn't really have anything to work with. They're going after Maro right now, forcing him into the ice block. If they go after Froffsy, no dispersion for 45 seconds. Only thing he has is greater fade. There's no Iron Bark. Just kill Froffsy at this point. There's the fade. That's the last line of defense that Froffsy even has available.
Nothing.
At this point, if they just land a freezing trap on the Asgrath, I don't know if Facile has his Intim stun yet, but if he does, all they have to do, stun Asgrath, stun Froffsy, trap Asgrath, win the game. But if they get crowd control to Relzah, it could be over before then. Relzah forced to use his trinket, forced to cast his last bit of mana there with that Radiance. They need to go right now here onto Froffsy before he gets that dispersion. There's 15 seconds left on that button. Asgrath has no mana left. Vampiric Embrace is active. 12 more seconds on that dispersion. Here we go. Here comes the push. Freezing trap.
Oh, that life grip.
Secured. What an excellent grip there by Froffsy, gripping the second trap so far of this match.
Oh! Dead.
He dies with 1 second left on his dispersion. Unbelievable. Cassidy lands a kick, and they just had an insane amount of damage there to kill Froffsy, despite the fact that he shut down the trap, despite the fact that Relzah was out of mana. This game was basically over.
Wow.
Gosh.
I mean, yeah, I just feel like Ad Hoc Gaming, it was do or die for them. That was the moment. They had to make a push, throw caution to the wind, trade their defensive cooldowns, and eventually take someone down. And I mean, they did. Froffsy, we're going to see the replay. I think he had like 1 or 2 seconds on his greater fade, 1 or 2 seconds on dispersion. So if they got to that point, I think they were chilling, and they could have extended the game a little bit longer. So really, really close game, even on Dalaran Sewers.
Yeah, and I mean, we're going to see those last couple of seconds here. But hey, if you look at the cooldowns on the left side of the screen, this is the perfect situation to be in. No dispersion on Froffsy, no fade, no trinket on Asgrath, and there we go. They land the stun onto Froffsy, do a bunch of damage, and then 1 second left on the what did Facile do there? Like, it looked like Cassidy was just running away there when they got that kill.
Look at his damage.
Look at the BM Hunter's damage. Look at that. By far the highest. Like, it's not even close. Like, way higher than the Shadow Priest.
BM Hunters are real.
Yeah, BM Hunters are real.
Very real.
They're very real.
This is it's a good day for you right now. It's a good patch for you if you're a hunter or if you're a this is good. This is good. I love seeing these specs come back here, and now we're seeing Ad Hoc Gaming do very, very well on the composition that we are used to seeing them up. What's up?
Now, as you say, there's some tough times for hunters, for sure.
There was what do you want to even call that period of time for hunters? I feel like
I don't know.
two
Age of
years,
depression.
I think, maybe. Just hunters never getting a shot. Jellybeans is on the bench, 3% play rate. He's like one of the best players. Just, I'm a hunter, man. Feels hunter. Now he's happy,
hunter,
I
man.
think. Now,
I'm trying
now
to think
they're
of some
happy.
like jungle or zoo pun that you could do with that, but I'm not clever enough for that. But either way, Ad Hoc Gaming taking that last victory, tons of damage on the BM Hunter, which we're all very happy about. And now we're going to be heading to game number 3. Ad Hoc Gaming, this is going to be kind of the proving game. This is like the turning point for them. I feel like if they can win this game on skill cap map choice as well, this is going to be very good things for them, not only in this series, Zico, but I feel like in the entire circuit as well. Like this game number 3, I think is really important for them here.
Absolutely, and I mean, like you said, this is going to be skill capped map. We're going to go to the largest map in the game here, Tolveron Arena. Definitely setting up for some wizardry here. And
I don't like it. I actually don't like Tolveron anymore. I think the only big maps you should pick are Empyrean Domain and Ashamanes. I think the pillars on this map are too big.
You don't think anyone should pick Tolveron ever again?
Unless it's a game 7, unless it's a best of 7, then you pick it if you're a big map team. But I think this is actually the worst of the big maps now, because the pillars are too big. Like a blizzard on Empyrean Domain hits all sides of the pillar. Like that is 100% the best map. And then Ashamain is still, you have 2 small ones and then 1 big one, but then the team is like stuck on that weird big one and needs to like move away from it. And then when they're on the small ones, you hit everything with blizzard again. I feel like Tolveron is actually like, it's like at C tier of all of the big maps for the big map teams. It's like, I actually think it's the worst big map for a big map strategy.
Okay, now that you're saying this, Supatees, I think we need not right now, obviously, but we need a tier list. Yeah, we need a tier list from Supatees on the maps.
You know, I feel like I don't know if I totally agree. I do like Empyrean Domain as Wizards, but I feel like Tolvaron, it has its perks as well. You know, like you can utilize the big pillars to drink. And also, I mean, we got the Subiti's Wizard Corner. You're just going to abandon that? I mean, the Subiti's Wizard Corner is a great spot to drag melee. Yeah, I think that position is the furthest away melee could be from a pillar, I think. Maybe not, though. Like, that starter room on Empyrean Domain is pretty far away.
Yeah,
also.
Empyrean is definitely the best. Like, I mean, it's fine if you're. It's fine if you. Maybe Tolvaron and Ashamain is debatable, but if you play a series and you don't pick Empyrean Domain, you made a mistake, I think.
And we're not seeing it picked like a whole lot
best.
either. We're still seeing, you know, I feel like Tolvaron and Ashamain's picked a lot more than Empyrean Domain. Go ahead, Zico.
I think I would rather pick Tolvir and Empyrean Domain over Ashamain's in this matchup. Okay. Because on Ashamain's, like Van said, there is pillars, but on Tolvir, like let's say you're in that same situation as last game and you're Froffsy. All you have to do on Tolvir is just run as far away as possible from the pillar where Relzah is playing. That's it. That's all you have to do. Then they have to walk through the Gatling gun, the machine gun, the turret that is Maro that's just snaring everybody and doing tons of damage. And I just, I think that positioning, it's like it puts them in a checkmate situation because either you chase and you probably lose, or you don't chase, but then you definitely lose.
Okay, well, let's see if this map choice works out for them, and if we end up going to Empyrean Domain like Sid wants to see. It's Ad Hoc Gaming tied up right now, 1-1 versus Skill Capped. And
I think on this map, if I'm Ad Hoc Gaming, I never leave the pillar. I sit here until the deepest, darkest dampening, and then maybe make an all-in push and try and kill in one big wave. That seems to be like the strategy, the only strategy you have as a hunter team against double spellcaster. You just wait, bank up all of your defensive cooldowns, make sure you've got full mana, and then you jump on a target and you press every defensive cooldown one after the other and create a chain of defense that the other team can't break. And if your chain is bigger than the other team's, then you get the kill deeper in dampening. Trying to attack them and move out in the middle of the map, I think is a higher likelihood that Facile or Cassidy dies. So I wouldn't be entirely surprised if they just decide to sit back and wait for maybe even 4 minutes for dampening to begin. I don't even know if you would want to start the fight right away. And this is why I think that this isn't the best map, because I think Froffsy and Maro are the ones that need to kind of poke the pillar, AoE the pillar. And with how big this one is, look how close they get to it. Cassidy can open up on Froffsy. Maro blinks in. I feel like they should switch to Maro here. Maro's now stacked up. They're going after Facile. And Froffsy is the main targets. Facile disengaging, but he's caught in a Frozen Orb. Really good Frozen Orb placement there on the escape path of the Hunter. Froffsy taking a bit of damage here as Asgrath was crowd controlled, but now Cassidy's in a Ring of Frost, getting dispelled out and attacking Maro, and then just retreats right back to the pillar. And then they should try to line of sight, but Blizzard could clip them here on the corner, and Relzah is actually silenced. He dispels it, but he's still very low, catching a Penance, fearing Asgrath before Asgrath could stun him. A scary moment for Relzah. Definitely a good option, but they're punishing them equally so here. Interrupting them on Frost. Big swing match if they can take it away from Skill Cap, but Asgrath denies it.
Yep, Asgrath with some powerful heals, and the Iron Bar keep Maro alive in a scary situation. 2 minutes into the game, both healers looking good. Maro playing a little bit more aggressive in this match, so doesn't want Ad Hoc Gaming to feel too comfortable at the pillar. Kind of realizing the game does get really unstable for them if dampening gets too high, but at the same time, dampening feels pretty good for them also. So it's one of those games where it feels like both teams kind of need dampening in order to close out the game. And what that kind of looks like is whatever team can get more momentum. So like in the early stages of the game, at like the 4 minute, 5 minute mark, if you can start getting major defensive cooldowns out of the way, you can start really taxing the enemy healer's mana. That's when you're going to have a huge advantage as, you know, the healing reduction goes up and up. I think that's what both these teams kind of want to do. Ad Hoc Gaming, they want to hold on to all their resources, and then I would imagine at about 4 or 5 minutes when dampening kicks in, that's when they start pushing, trying to get dispersion, trying to get greater fade, trying to tax Asgrath's mana, and that's when they can kind of ride that momentum to a win like we saw in the last game.
Yeah, but they're going after Relzah right now. Big swap here onto Relzah. He's going to get silenced there, so not going to have to use anything, though. Beautiful backup there from his teammates. Nice premonition there, or Shadow Word Death on the polymorph there as well. Relzah so far holding onto his pain suppression, holding onto his trinket, and just staying alive with his mana as well. So he's been having a great game so far. He's sitting down right now for a sip, and I mean, this is one thing that skill caps can do to try to end the game early. They can just swarm Relzah. If they can get a fear or a sheep on him and then set up onto Relzah out of that, that's a great way for them to develop momentum and to actually try to win the game, or at least get those big objectives, Relzah's trinket, Relzah's pain suppression, or at least burn some of his mana. With the radiant spam. So Facile actually having to res his pet here with the aspect of the turtle. So some signs of life here, but it's mostly in favor of skill capped here. Facile and Relzah and Cassidy are going to swap pillar. Maro now dragging the pet all the way to the opposite side of the world, looking to res the pet, looking to kill the pet, and Facile is already in position to res it, but Relzah is going to keep it alive here, and they are going to just basically completely reset the game here. So nobody in a real big advantage here. Facile is now in camouflage. Relzah is sitting down for a drink. Asgrath sitting down in stealth, drinking. Cassidy's in stealth. So this game, you know, when you look at the spells as well, this game literally just started here. The only actually Facile has used his aspect of the turtle. And it looks like we've had a DC on Froffsy as well. So I don't know if Ad Hoc Gaming are gonna go and punish that. Oh no, he's back. He's maybe fixing his frames, which can be a problem when you disconnect. He's still there, but it actually looks like Ad Hoc Gaming. I don't want to say, because last time this happened, we said, oh yeah, they're waiting. What a nice team, but they were just waiting for their berserk or their ascendants. So we'll see if they decide to go in here.
The gates have opened.
They're trying to make I don't know if the gates have, maybe, yeah, I guess. We're at the 5-minute mark. The gates have opened. They're trying to go after Maro. Maro blinks away, and this is what I mean. Cassidy can't leave this pillar. He needs to attack whoever's close by, let Facile do all the work. I do think they actually can win with that, though, with that strategy. Cassidy just attacks anyone that comes close, and Facile basically solos the game, while Cassidy is an off healer. With Relzah. Relzah and Facile just do all the damage. Maro's close by. All right, let's attack Maro. Maro's still a decent target here. I'm stunned. I'm kind of scared as Cassidy. And now Silence connects as well. But okay, the stun's over. I'm going to keep attacking. Frozen Orb's down. Cyclone time. Trying to stop the Frozen Orb damage. Good peels from Cassidy. Now cycloning the Shadow Priest during the cooldowns. Switching back to the Mage. He's actually committing to Maro. This is a big commitment from Ad Hoc Gaming. Let's see what they get from it.
Yeah, they're going to make a push. Let's see if they can get an ice block. This is prime time. I mean, 6 minutes into the game, start getting those cooldowns out of the way. They get Iron Bark, they get the Nature Swiftness from Asgrath, so slowly working through some of that defense. Maro literally just tunneling the pet right now. And I think he managed to actually take one down. So one of the skeleton pets going to get dropped. Facile looking for a revive, and he gets it. Oh, that effort for nothing. Such a close polymorph there to interrupt that cast, but Facile's going to be feeling very happy that he can res that pet and push in once again to get that damage rolling. Maro and Froffsy likely going to switch targets. I mean, if the only target to hit is that pet, definitely not a bad option for them. Asgrath, in terms of mana, might need to actually try to look to recover at some point. So we might see Skill Cap just totally positioned far away, move away from the pillar, let Asgrath reset his mana. But no, they're just going for pressure on Cassidy. He's caught into a stun. Frostbolt's potential mind games. Maro dropping a Ring of Frost on himself, making him basically untargetable. You see the pets all caught into that snare, into that crowd control, and Cassidy doesn't want to push through it. So, yeah, good defensive plays there by Maro. And Skill Cap is looking pretty good, but just remember, Froffsy was the main target in the last game. They get the Greater Fade, potential Dispersion as well as a full trap on Asgrath into a full Cyclone. They could get the Dispersion. This is big. Ad Hoc Gaming, are they going to continue to make the push? No, doesn't look like it. And Cassidy is forced back to the pillar. So good counter pressure there by Maro. And then Froffsy holds on to that major defensive.
Yep, nicely done there. Cassidy was going for some Cyclones as well, and then he ended up getting caught up in that Psychic Horror. So good defense there between Maro and Froffsy. Stalling for Asgrath to get out of the CC chain. And now Asgrath caught up in a bash. gets gripped, but there's no trap available right there. Actually, no, he grips the trap there again. Froffsy even walks into the trap, and that actually dispels his own bleeds. So a nice play there by Froffsy, shuts down the trap on his healer, and then also goes in and gets that little bit of damage reduction that you can get if you eat that trap. And also, it just prevents Asgraf from randomly walking into it later. So you also, if you do manage to do that as a priest, you life grip one of those traps, you definitely want to try to eat it if you are the target as well. So Froffsy definitely putting on a show so far. Maro landing a poly onto Relzah, DR poly here. They're going after Facile here. Big damage coming in. Do they have a silence here? Maybe onto Relzah. Doesn't look like it. No counterspell, no silence available here. And now Froffsy is going to be on the back foot. Kick onto Asgrath, channeling the Fleshcraft here, trying to presumably avoid that stun that Cassidy maybe wanted to chain with that kick. Here comes the Innovate. There's a big Nature Swiftness onto Maro, doing a lot of work here. 23% dampening. Cassidy is definitely feeling the heat right now. Pre-bear form there on the stun. Facile laying waste to Maro right now, who is in ice form. Ring of Frost gets casted out, but the pet doesn't actually get hit by it. He gets feared and dodges it. So Maro still going to be able to survive here, just using this big map to kite those pets, to kite the damage. And now they're trying to shut down Relzah from drinking. So skill capped here, trying to actually maintain that lead that they've built up so far.
I'm very curious if Ad Hoc Gaming can pull this off. If they can win here, I could see them winning the series. It's going to be one of their toughest fights. Right now, Cassidy interrupted. Relzah in crowd control, Facile in crowd control. Cassidy's all alone, trying to run for the pillar at the moment. Relzah is still cycloned, dampening quite high now at 27%. Relzah has maintained his mana, but it seems like he'll just burn the rest of it all at one window of time at around 40% dampening. So he's doing his best so far. Perhaps he should consider using cooldowns more often. I feel like he sits on his barrier and he sits on his pain suppression basically the entire game. If he, like I started that last game, he pressed barrier once the entire game. I think he pressed pain suppression once too. And I think that they could use those cooldowns to stay on top of the mage and try and anticipate a full polymorph. If Relzah can't avoid it, just bait Maro to sheep him and then pain suppression Cassidy right before it lands and let Cassidy keep attacking. They need to allocate their defense to allow their team to stay out in the open. I think that's going to be very important for them to win, and I'm just monitoring Relzah's cooldowns and when he decides to allocate them. At the moment, he can't use any of them. He's silenced up, cycloned. Cassidy's trying to heal himself. He gets stunned. Oh no, they've surrounded him. Oh, it's his danger time for Cassidy going into bear form. Flesh crafting, big absorb coming in from that Necrolord Covenant. Buying time with the Frenzied Regen. Cassidy makes a nice recovery. Now attacking Froffsy, but Thorns is up. He's attacking into Thorns. It's a lot of redirected damage, already breaking his Fleshcraft shield. Going for the Adaptive Swarm, trying to generate pressure on Froffsy. It's a race against Froffsy and Cassidy. There's pressure back and forth. Life Grip gets rooted up. Cassidy just running back to the pillar. And this is where I would like to see Facile just go to town and attack with his pets, let Cassidy recover and heal. Mana's surprisingly even. Asgrath not in the best position to drink either. Interrupted on a heal. Clutch play into a bash by Cassidy. Trying to really go for some control. Gets silenced on the Cyclone, but eating the silence does at least get it out of the way for Relzah. Cassidy going to use defensive cooldowns. But he's using it to just even get back to the pillar and survive. And those are two big defensive cooldowns out of the way. Relzah now being swapped to. Where's the cooldowns? They're just so greedy with these cooldowns. They just never want to use them. I do wonder what situation Relzah is waiting for to allocate those, the pain suppression and the barrier, because he just sits on them forever.
Yeah, I mean, it is true. He's had to use a lot of mana to heal at this point. He's almost completely tapped on mana, 40% dampening. I don't know if Ad Hoc Gaming can really recover. Skill-capped Gaming, they smell blood in the water, and they do want to make this push. So Maro just going to be throwing down some blizzards, going to be throwing down some frozen orbs. Relzah, if he can't drink, I feel like the game's over. Unless we see Cassidy and Facile just go for some sort of huge one-hit wonder. Relzah right now going for mind games. He gets silenced. Maro playing very aggressive. Really doesn't want to allow them to reset the fight. Relzah getting soloed. Pain suppression. This is the moment, I suppose, where he's going to trade it out, but he's got no mana left. Cassidy going to be throwing in some heals, and this is where the Frost Mage excels with the Shadow Priest. Blizzard, pinning him at the pillar, Frozen Orb, pinning him at the pillar. You can see the pets caught into a ring of frost across the entire map. And I don't know if Ad Hoc Gaming is going to be able to make another push. They're going for it, though. Maro using his ice form, immunity to stuns, Frozen Orb, Blizzard drops down. Big damage on Cassidy. Relzah gets interrupted. He's got no mana to keep Cassidy alive. Barstein comes in with a Fleshcraft. Cassidy looking to make the push. It's kind of do or die. They can't just sit behind the pillar. If they can get an ice block, they might be able to ride that momentum. They get the Iron Bark and Thorns and Ice Block. That's huge for Ad Hoc Gaming. They keep themselves in the game, but it might be too little too late.
Yeah, and Maro is going to be the only person that they can kill, and they have to do it when he is on that. Actually, he does no more ice blocks, so Maro has nothing. They have no iron bar, they have no trinket. All they need to do is just trap Asgarath and kill Maro, but Froffsy could grip that trap, could master spell it. They need to get something on the Froffsy. Nice preemptive alter time on the stun by Maro, and that's surely got to be the game here. Froffsy's pushing in here, looking for the Psychic Scream. He gets Disorienting Roar, he gets stunned up, stopping the stun, stopping the fear from happening. He gets Cyclone there as well. Really beautiful shutdown there by Cassidy, but still, Asgarath has mana, and Relzah has no mana. He has a barrier. Here comes the Cyclone. There's the preemptive Master Spell. They get the Master Spell out of the way. If they can land a full Fear onto Asgarath or a full Freezing Trap, they can still win the game on tomorrow here. Adok is pushing in. There's the full trap. Relzah's getting swapped too. This is their opportunity. They have to 100-0 Maro here, but it's not going to happen. The trap breaks. Asgarath is out, and now Relzah has absolutely nothing. Facile has pretty much nothing, just that aspect of the turtle, and Cassidy just used his bark skin. I really don't see them. Oh, Relzah actually sitting up for a drink here. If he can get some mana,
oh my
it's going to be
goodness.
big. They kick the door of shadows.
Oh my goodness.
And Facile, he's actually going to be able to survive a little bit with that aspect of the turtle. Relzah able to get just a tiny bit of mana. They have enough in the tank to do one more push, but Asgarath has an answer here with his trinket, with the Iron Bark, and with his Nature Swiftness.
Oh god, this is going to be such a stressful position for Ad Hoc Gaming. They're just getting poked down at the pillar. They're poking for a mind games, but they're getting AoE'd out. Cassidy pops Survival Instincts. This is the time to use your defense. Just trade it out and get aggressive. You got nothing left. You have to make a push at this point. Commit everything you've got and try and go for it. Silence on the Mind Blast. Relzah could just die to dots. Cassidy's trying to push through the pain, interrupting the healer, trying to take down Froffsy. Froffsy disperses, denying the kill. Cassidy's now stuck in midfield, trying to Fleshcraft tank out his opponent. That Fleshcraft is getting huge value. Big trade. They're going after Froffsy. Asgarath trinkets. Do they have anything for Asgarath? They can kill Froffsy. Literally anything on Asgarath. Froffsy goes down. They don't even need anything. A full fear. They've pulled it. Oh, it's not over yet. Relzah in a full sheep. Cassidy goes down. 2v2, but out of mana Discipline Priest. I feel like BM Hunter, if the Priest had any mana, is actually going to be a better option. I mean, BM Hunter owns 2v2.
BM Hunter is really, really good in the situation. The problem is Relzah has no mana. We'll see. I mean, Cassidy said a little bit of a prayer, going for a drink right now, just watching his team kind of go for it. This is kind of a nightmare. I feel like this is really, really difficult for Maro, Facile with the pets. Relzah potentially even going for a drink. If he resets his mana, I feel like this game it could just be over. However, I mean, Facile, he's got no aspect of the turtle. He's got no exhilaration for quite some time, but the consistent damage of those pets is really going to start adding up. And I feel like Ad Hoc Gaming, they might have this one. They might be able to do it on their worst map, I would say, into skill capped, besides Empyrean Domain, Sid, yes. But yeah, they might be able to actually pull this off, which is huge for them in this series.
Oh, I can't believe it. Maro has still.
It's over.
An ice block right now. Maro, if he cold snaps and ice blocks, he wastes.
He's rezzing!
No way! Oh, Asgarath sees it. Look at Cassidy. He can't believe it. It was so close to get that res. But Maro now is going to have 2 ice blocks to work with. But he might just have to use it right away. Facile,
just go for res again.
He has the beast within ready. He just needs to push it. He presses it. Maro's going to have to use ice block. Maro trades the ice block. Asgarath trying to trade for a drink. Facile's all over him though. He finds the flare this time around. Asgarath gets 0 mana. What is Relzah doing? He sat down there. He recovered just the tiniest sliver of mana, and he has pain suppression. I think Ad Hoc Gaming are going to do it. Maro casting Frostbolts. Well, there's pets in the game, Maro, and you're just a Frost Mage. I don't think those Frostbolts are going to be doing what you want them to. Maro just trying to kite the pets right now, dragging out the Blizzard, trying to reset the Frozen Orb, trying to reset his Ice Orb, but he might just be forced into another Ice Block here. Takes a big hit of damage right there, trying to go blow for blow against Facile, but Relzah trades out the pain
he fakes it!
Full sheep. Maro with the alter time here, trying to make the hero turtle. Another sheep. There's no mana left on Asgarath. He's going for a cycle on the pet. He gets stunned on it. Maro on 1%, forced into the ice block. Facile on 1% HP. Who's going to die first, Sid?
Who's going to die first here? Indeed, Relzah's still cycling. Asgarath's moving in to kill Facile. Facile aspects of the turtle preemptively on a stun. Buying time for Relzah. Fleshcraft on the freezing trap. Nice play by Asgarath. If he can get a cyclone here, go for damage. A cyclone Facile at low health. Buying time for diminishing returns to switch them over to Relzah. Maro blinks for the polymorph. And Relzah has to trinket, but Facile is getting blasted down by Maro. Disengaging around the corner, trying to stay alive, but now Relzah in a full cyclone, putting a slow trap on the left side. Line of sighting Maro here. Going into camouflage. He can heal in camouflage. He's going to get get a massive heal. Relzah's got Desperate Prayer rolling in a second to try and stabilize it. Facile so low. He feigned deaths on 1%. He interrupts Maro, but Azkarath is killing him outright right now. Mind Game's attempt gets interrupted. Relzah's got nothing. Rapture power and shield, but a full polymorph. Facile's at 1%. Both players could die. If Relzah plays this out, he's in a Cyclone now, and I think you have to tap out at that point. I mean, maybe it's really unlikely. Relzah's going to try and penance Maro maybe for the kill. We're at almost 80% dampening. He needs to Door of Shadows over. He needs to get in line of sight of Maro. I mean, Azkarath gets Innervate. He's going to Innervate, and he's going to get heals. And I think with the Innervate, Maro's not going to end up dying. Relzah's still trying to battle it out. I actually can't believe that they pulled this off. I thought for sure the BM Hunter was going to take this. Relzah's trying his hardest to getting any sips of little drinks and mana, and I almost wonder if he barriered instead of Rapture, if he would have lived, because Rapture was just nerfed by dampening so much, whereas the barrier would have gotten full value. It was so close. It might not have mattered at that point. It's kind of unbelievable that Skillcap pulled this off.
A healer 1v1.
Yeah, I think the one crucial moment in that 2 versus 2, the big mistake Facile did, they had got Maro's second Ice Block, and Facile decided that he wanted to, actually it might have been his first Ice Block, but he decided he wanted to shut down the drink, and he crossed the entire map using all his mobility, and he just ended up getting rake stunned, and that's when the Priest and the Hunter got completely split up. I feel like that was the one major error, where if they had just played back, kind of realized at that point, it doesn't really matter how much mana Azkarath has with dampening to 80+%, as long as they don't allow Maro to push in, get pressure, get crowd control, that's going to win them the game. So unfortunate, but Skillcap, they're going to be happy that they were able to come back in that one.
My goodness, 82%. That's only 4% away from our current record here in Shadowlands. These games are going so long. They're getting so close, but Skillcap is going to take that victory right there. And gosh, what a series this has been so far. And, you know, once again, we're seeing Facile up there at the top of the damage meters.
Yeah,
I think that's
I
going
think
to be
that's going to be a
now.
trend.
Yes.
They're like,
That's normal now.
they do more damage than Affliction Warlock, so I think that's the new normal. Expect it.
Expected. Okay. All right. I'll expect it moving forward here. But I mean, it's going to be Ad Hoc's map choice now. So if we go to the, you know, if they get this second victory, this could very well be going to a game number 5. And I still feel like Zico Ad Hoc Gaming is still in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they almost took the swing match here. They are definitely in this. They're going to have a much easier time on a smaller map. But here we can see the first kill there, Froffsy going down. And then look at Cassidy here. He pressed the bark skin. He tried to do what he could there, but ended up going down. And then, of course, that put us in that 2v2 situation. Both healers basically tapped here. Relzah just got his pain suppression back there as well. So unfortunate for Cassidy. If he stayed alive for like 5 more seconds, he could have had that pain suppression. And here we can see the kill. Nice bash. And you can tell one thing that Azkarath's doing really well here is he realizes, okay, I'm not a healer anymore. I'm just a Cyclone and damage. So he's just going for crowd control on the pets. Instead of trying to out-heal the damage that the pets are doing, he's just trying to CC them. He's trying to CC Relzah. He's trying to get aggressive onto Facile here. And Facile here almost pulls it back with that kick onto Maro on Frost. And then here he's able to duck around the corner, but unfortunately Relzah gets polyed, Maro gets the Klepto, and then here Facile is just in a tough situation. If he goes to the left, he's going to run into Azkarath. If he goes to the right, he runs into Maro. And obviously he doesn't have that power word shield because he just got the spout. So yeah, Facile is just in an impossible situation right there at the end.
I mean, it is, you know, Skillcap to you, they're obviously up right now 2-1, but on the side of Ad Hoc Gaming, it's a very, very good place to be in. I mean, these guys have already highlighted just how close that last game was. So if they do manage to win this next game here on their smaller map for game number 5, it kind of seems like they almost like know what they did wrong and what they could change in the next game moving forward, Super T's.
Yeah, they were so close, right? I mean, maybe just getting a drink even on Relzah at some point in the middle of the game, even when they're at 80% mana, so that they have just 10% more on the bigger map and they can win. I think that Empyrean Domain is still the hardest map, much harder than Tolvaron, and that should be the game 5. I would be very surprised if Skillcap picked Ashamains instead, but Ad Hoc here should go Hook Point, I think. Hook Point, aggressive, before dampening, run the Druid out of mana, stop the Druid from drinking, and then when the Druid's out of mana, you just keep doing damage, let the BM Hunter kind of carry the game from that point. You don't get to that excessive 80% dampening point where then the jungle just can't recover at all. So to me, that makes the most sense here for game number 4. Although, could Godcom still win on hook points. It feels like they were feeling out Relzah in the last game a lot, and they almost killed him like twice just randomly at the start of the game. So I do actually wonder if Skillcapped have a different strategy for hook point that could allow them to win and just take the series. Nonetheless, Skillcapped are #1 seed coming into the circuit. Ad Hoc Gaming were just getting in by the skin of their teeth, like the skin of their fangs, just trying to get into the circuit, and they're actually taking a game. They're actually making it look threatening for Skillcapped, which is very impressive.
Yeah, it definitely is, and they had a pretty good day yesterday as well, winning that series against Kuwana Gaming. Or sorry, Skillcapped won the game against Kuwana Gaming, but Ad Hoc Gaming won their series against Creed. So both of those guys had winning series yesterday, but Ad Hoc Gaming certainly ramping up right now. You know, I was talking to them after their victory, and they said they were, you know, feeling kind of stressed because, you know, we know jungle has its limits as a composition, but Cassidy apparently, and I quote, said, "I feel alive again." So I think this guy, you can see him right here. He's very invested in this game. It looks like he is sticking true to his word here. But we are going to be heading to hook point right now. Skillcapped EU sticking with that composition as well. And do we let? I mean, you know, we know that they have melee classes on their team on Skillcapped in their composition pool event. Do we still like them choosing these caster comps on hook point?
Yes, I think so. What else could they play? I wonder I wonder if Asgrath. I feel like if Asgrath could play Shaman, it would give their team so many more options. Well, not so many more options. It's give them Shadow Priest, Warrior, Shaman. But I don't really know how that does into jungle. This like BM Hunter jungle is kind of like new. It's like the new hotness. It's looking good right now for sure. It seems like there hasn't been a matchup I've seen so far where it feels like it doesn't have a chance to win. So I think overall it just seems really well rounded. I think for Skillcap this is more so probably a comfort pick. I think playing Maro with Blizo would be a bit of a mistake. I think the mage by himself is it's really easy to shut him down, train him down as jungle cleave, and it's really hard for Blizo to actually get counter pressure by himself. But when you have two wizards, all of a sudden the ability for Froffsy to generate pressure if Maro's under fire is really high, and the opposite is true. Whereas if Froffsy's getting targeted down, then Maro has a great shot to get crowd control and try to set up kills. And that's kind of the idea behind the double wizards, is that you can't shut them both down for the most part.
Makes sense. BM Hunter, so hot right now.
So hot.
So hard. All right, both comps locked in though. Heading to hook point as well. Skillcapped EU, if they win this next game, they are going to win this series. They are #1 seed right now. So really, it's Ad Hoc Gaming that probably. Maybe, I mean, I can't really say for sure, of course, but Ad Hoc Gaming surely wants this more. They are seeking those points. They are seeking those match wins right now in the circuit to try and solidify their spot in the top 4. Sid?
I feel like if Ad Hoc can manage to win this, they actually could threaten Method EU's spot. Like, I almost feel like Method EU at this point is playing for 4th. And if Ad Hoc Gaming beats Skillcapped, like any team that can beat Skillcapped is a direct threat then to Method EU qualifying for top 4.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I know that they're not in this series right now, but we should talk about that. I mean, Method EU, they've got to be watching these series just like nervous, not wanting, teams, because it's better for teams like that aren't in the top 4 for Skillcap to win this series, because they're already #1 right there, so they're not really going to be stealing anybody's spot. But you're right, Ad Hoc Gaming and other teams that aren't quite there yet is a little bit more threatening for anyone that hasn't made the top 4 yet. But Skillcap to you, Ad Hoc Gaming, match point for Skillcap to you.
Yeah, and I mean, after what we just saw in that last game, I don't think it gets any more closer than that. This time around, it's going to be on Ad Hoc Gaming's map here, and we're going to see, I got to say as well, it's really nice to see Asgrath back on his Resto Druid. This is the class that he played when he won BlizzCon, and he's been, forced into the Paladin meta, just like a lot of other Resto Druid mains like Fnobbers, but seeing a lot of these big players back on their main class has been really, really great. Because I really doubt that if Maro and Asgrath were the two other people in that last game, that they would have won that 2v2. So definitely a lot of high-level plays, and we see a swap of the Relzah.
1%.
It drops him to 1%, and this guy is so greedy, doesn't use a single cooldown except his Gladiator's emblem, that Battle Master trinket, and he gets away with it. But this is what I love to see as well from Skill Cap. On small maps, Sheep, Relzah as much as possible, Facile and Cassidy are going to be running away. As soon as they do that, you turn up the heat onto Relzah. You drop a Frozen Orb, Vortex, get a stun there, and you can take him down before dampening, and at the very least, you're going to force him to burn through a lot of mana with those Radiances. So I really like that strategy adaptation, and now let's see what Ad Hoc Gaming can do. They're going after Asgrath here, Sid.
I don't think they're going to get too much there. They bait the bark skin. They leave it as an option in the future. This is what I saw Skill Cap doing in the last game, was attacking Relzah and almost killing him. And I think on a small map, it's actually maybe even more likely they can pull that off. That's the biggest threat before dampening on the side of Ad Hoc Gaming, is how well can Relzah protect himself from any of those incoming attacks. Trying to stay ahead of some incoming damage and dispel. Maro is just bullying Relzah, staying on his pillar at the moment. I actually think they should attack Maro and force him away from Relzah. They're going after Asgrath, so we might actually see a healer race in game number 4. That was not anticipated between two teams that are based around crowd control, but Asgrath's actually just getting smacked around by Facile. They're going to trigger that frictionless coating on Asgrath. They got Barkskin earlier. Now they're freezing trapping him. They're switching to the Shadow Priest. Master Spell comes out. Asgrath is free. The only thing is when you attack the Druid, he can heal himself for free. Here comes an incoming attack on Relzah. Relzah now allocating the barrier. Maybe this is what he was saving it for. He didn't want to use barrier on anyone else but himself, and he wasn't attacked enough in all of the previous games. But even with the barrier, he still took quite a large swing of damage he's trying to recover from. Attacking the water elemental, good atonement management, doing that rather than going in line of sight of Maro and then getting attacked back. So I like this positioning from Relzah, if he can maintain the atonement on the water elemental. Maro now the target. They're really just switching targets constantly. Ad Hoc Gaming blasts Maro down a half. Asgrath recovers him, and I actually love these swaps. I think Ad Hoc Gaming just switch targets, do maximum damage, run Asgrath out of mana, stop him from drinking, win game.
Yeah, I think the problem is if Maro and Froffsy want to just play super defensive, Asgrath will eventually be able to go for a drink. So far, it's working out for them nicely, but we'll see if Skill Cap makes any like positional changes. I mean, Maro is trying his hardest right now to stop Relzah from drinking, really trying to pressure him, always with a Blizzard, a Frozen Orb, Frost Bolts if he can. It seems like that really is the main target. Relzah's just going to be moving into the rim. Maro immediately using Shimmer. This is what I'm talking about. Immediately going in line of sight of Relzah, never giving him a moment to really breathe. Now into a full polymorph. Facile could be in a little bit of trouble. Going to the pillar. Mind Games does come out as well on Cassidy. Nice bash. Asgrath now looking for a Cyclone. It gets interrupted. Nice backup there by Facile, but I don't know if it's going to matter. Fear comes in from Froffsy. Great crowd control. This is a good push from the side of Skill Cap, but it looks like Ad Hoc will be able to hold on. Now Maro being pressured away. He's got his ice form up, and it looks like he should be able to hold on. Asgrath in a great position to just top him off. But I really like the pressure Skill Cap's putting on in this game.
I really like what they're doing here to Maro as well. They need to keep Maro as aggressive as possible on the side of Skill Cap. And of course, if you are Ad Hoc Gaming, you need to poke Maro away. Whenever Maro has this offensive positioning, it's just bad overall because he can threaten to stop drinks, he can land CC very easily, and he's far away from Asgrath. So Asgrath can heal without getting kicked. He actually does get kicked right now with his Innervate up into a stun onto Cassidy though. So Asgrath there stunning up Cassidy before he can get stunned himself. Because usually what Cassidy especially likes to do, and what a lot of good Pharaohs like to do, is they kick the healer and then they chain it with a stun and then they do a setup out of it, and that kick actually brings you a lot of momentum here. Maro can't use his ice block right now. He's just spamming that key while he was in that kick. Finally, they get themselves a cooldown, and this is actually really big for Maro's kind of posture in the game. He's just been playing super aggressive. They land a polymorph here onto Relzah. Let's see, how do they respond? Cassidy and Facile, if they run away and just leave Relzah by himself, he's going to get swapped to. So they have to stay and shut down Cross CC. They have to shut down the damage and keep building up the momentum. Asgrath looking for the drink. Facile shuts it down, and Maro with an excellent alter time here is going to Ring of Frost all the pads, and then once again get aggressive here onto Cassidy potentially. And once again, Asgrath just threatening for the drink. As soon as they can force both ice blocks from Maro though, this entire playstyle is not going to be available anymore for Skill Cap here. Maro's just going to be super scared and have to stay far, far back, then Froffsy's going to have to be the one who shuts down the drinks and sets them up.
Let's see if SkillCap can manage it here and just close the series out. Ad Hoc Gaming have been really putting up a fight, though, against the #1 seed in Europe, arguably the best team at the moment. They'll be able to settle that here and now, actually, in the circuit play into the grand finals. Only the top 4 teams of the circuit round robin will survive, and Ad Hoc Gaming were just hanging on by a thread throughout the qualification stage, but now they are actually taking matches off some of the best teams, potentially able to take a series off SkillCapped, which would be unprecedented here today. And they're still in it. They've managed to get one ice block out of the way. Relzah's mana is at a healthy margin. They're staying on Froffsy at the moment. Relzah gets stunned. They're setting up crowd control. They're going after Cassidy. Mind Games gets interrupted by Facile. Goes for it again. Cassidy shadow melds it, and then Fleshcrafts. Fleshcraft, a really powerful shield at the moment, and always a good trade during that situation when your healer is in crowd control. Good timing by Cassidy. Now getting aggressive, switching over to Maro. I really like the swaps. Just attack whoever is close by, the Shadow Priest or the Mage. Run the Druid out of mana with the split damage. Maro going to alter time, back into the fight. Cassidy's trying to keep bleeds up, trying to help support Facile. Facile really the hard carry on this Beast Mastery Hunter. It really, all of the pressure lies in his hands. Cassidy is just doing his best to support.
Yep, and we'll see. I mean, Maro right now still being pressured quite a bit in this match. The smaller map going to be difficult. Relzah been doing a really good job maintaining his mana, a lot better than I thought. You can still kind of pull away into the nooks and crannies of the map, go for a drink and reset, especially if Cassidy and Facile have momentum. That's going to be Relzah's opportunity to kind of reset his mana. 13% dampening at this point in the match. Maro doesn't really have that same opportunity to run away. It's much more difficult for SkillCap to pull out into the open on these smaller maps and kind of bait Cassidy and Facile really far off the pillar. It's not that far at basically any point on the map for Cassidy to retreat to either the pillar or the gate and just get out of line of sight, keep himself alive, and that is really important for the side of Ad Hoc Gaming. If Cassidy can sustain himself and keep himself alive, get out of line of sight, it's going to be much more difficult for SkillCap to actually secure a kill in this matchup. Cassidy now pushing forward, getting a bash on Froffsy. Maro actually securing a full polymorph. Nicely done. Cassidy with line of sight, with frenzied regen, completely fine. This is what I'm talking about. Whenever Cassidy is in trouble, whenever Relzah is in crowd control, it is so easy for Cassidy to just get to safety.
Yeah, and we're going to see here Froffsy taking some damage. Asgard forced to use the Nature Swiftness, and once again, Asgard has been able to find some drinks, but look at his mana, it's not doing good. All they need to do is just keep the pressure up. You have 20% dampening here if you're Ad Hoc Gaming. You have a perfect map. You have basically all of your cooldowns left, and your healer is looking very, very nice as well in terms of his cooldowns and his mana. Just shut the Asgard right now, sitting up for a drink. What are you going to do about it, Facile? He drops the flare, he hits it, puts him in combat. Asgard gets 0 mana, and while Facile is doing that, Cassidy's getting his pressure here onto Froffsy. Facile doing a good job here as well with his pets, trying to send them over to Froffsy and build up some momentum now with the Bestial Wrath. Full bash into Freezing Trap, Master Spell, Froffsy fakes the kicks here, lands it, frees Asgard out of that chain. Cassidy gets stunned, gets gripped back. Maro though, dropping the Frozen Orb, dropping the Blizzard. Maro feels very safe now. He has 2 ice blocks. Asgard sitting down for a drink. Facile and Cassidy getting feared, and Maro just trying to chain it with a Ring of Frost. Asgard's going to come back once again with full mana here, and Relzah is not able to sit down for a drink here. He actually gets polymorphed out of that Psychic Horror, so not only is SkillCap full mana now, but they're also going to be able to net themselves a setup here and potentially pull more cooldowns. Relzah now in a Cyclone, and here this is a perfect opportunity to swap to Relzah if they have a stun. I'm not sure. Actually, Relzah anticipates it as well, drops the preemptive Power Word Barrier there, but I think he was on stun DR from that Psychic Horror still for a couple of more seconds though, so Relzah doing kind of a bad read right there, but still it was a good time to trade out his barrier. It was Maro's orb, and it was a scare situation, but now he won't have that for his teammates. Relzah once again in a polymorph, means Cassidy has to duck out. Asgard can continue to chain or go for a stun. They're going to go for Relzah here. Here comes the damage. Where's the silence, Froffsy? He doesn't have it, but they do get themselves the pain suppression there, which is another big objective here. SkillCap just looking like they are in total control.
Yeah, I mean, Ad Hoc really need to do something. They're on match point. Mana's dwindling. Defense is dwindling. Relzah is now an open target we've seen throughout this game. This is a stressful position to be in match point when you're fighting for your lives and you're trying to qualify against such titanic teams here in the circuit play. Relzah manages to drink. It maintains a bit of mana. That's better than nothing here for Ad Hoc Gaming, despite things starting to spiral out of control. They're trying to get pressure on Maro and Froffsy at the same time. I like this strategy. Split damage against the Druid. Don't attack into Thorns, but Froffsy is sneaking up on Relzah, looking for a silence, maybe a fear. They get a stun in line of sight of Maro. Polymorph out. Beautiful crowd control engagement here. They blink in line of sight of Cassidy. Trades out Fleshcraft. They interrupt Mind Games. Good defense by Facile and Cassidy here. They still need to stop Mind Games. They're going to stun it. Double stun lock. Where's the freezing trap? They're actually swapping. They're going after Asgrath. Asgrath's going to get pulled away. Takes a huge hit of damage, actually. Is he going to recover? He's running Feral Affinity, so he will not have access to that Guardian Affinity to be able to stabilize. And if he's caught out like that in the future with no Trinket and no Barkskin, he's definitely a target. Ad Hoc Gaming are still keeping things interesting despite being so far behind.
Yeah, and I mean, it's something they do. I mean, think about what happened on Tolvaron Arena, how far behind they were. Relzah, no mana, Cassidy, no cooldowns, and they managed to push and get a cross kill. So you can never really count Ad Hoc Gaming out. Cassidy seems to Cassidy and Facile just always have tricks up their sleeves to make a push. Asgrath getting swapped to, no Barkskin and no Trinket. He's in a bash. Can they drop him? They need a little bit more damage, and it looks like Asgrath should be able to hold on, getting his Nature's Swiftness heal up. But on the small map, it might be difficult for him to fully recover if Facile and Cassidy decide to just train him down. Asgrath actually gets interrupted. Asgrath says, I don't care. Goes into cat form, gets a stun on Cassidy. A bit of kitty envy there in this game. 42% dampening. Maro and Froffsy doing a good job kind of forcing Facile and Cassidy back to the pillar once again. Asgrath could potentially go for a little bit of a reset. A stun into a trap. Do they have a full trap? Master Spell potentially coming in from Froffsy. Looks like the trap will not land. Froffsy doesn't have to go for the Master Spell. 44% dampening. Relzah is actually out-manning Asgrath in this position. Things aren't looking too bad here for Ad Hoc Gaming to tie the series up.
Yeah, and I really like what Facile did there. When Asgrath was crossing the map, he just tab targeted and sniped him with an auto shot. Just anything to put him in combat when he's crossing the map like that is going to buy you a couple of extra seconds where you can build up that momentum before he sits down and goes for the drink. Then, of course, the drink takes a little time as well to actually activate. That gives you enough time to build up enough momentum to where you don't even need to shut down the drink. So Facile always going for those plays here. You can see anytime Asgrath pokes out, Facile is going to be there. You're trying to put him in combat. He's going for the Door of Shadows here. Asgrath gets the restuff here. Facile's just chasing him, flares him out there, which denies the rake stun there onto Cassidy. But now flare doesn't actually put you in combat, so they need to make sure that they keep good pressure here. Asgrath just spam healing Froffsy, which is keeping him in combat. There's the stun. Here's the freezing shot. That's going to be the dispersion. They might just kill him through it. Relzah not able to connect with the Mind Games there, but his mana is not looking good. Froffsy has nothing left. Asgrath has nothing left. If Ad Hoc Gaming can just survive for one more setup, they can actually take Froffsy down here. I mean, I don't even think they need a setup. Asgrath is completely out of mana. Just hug the pillar, make sure that Facile can just do BM Hunter things here with his pets, and that's pretty much all they need to do here. Asgrath sitting up for a drink. Just stop the drink. They do. Asgrath gets about one tick there. That's it on 50% HP. Relzah's in a poly. Relzah trinkets out of that one. And Cassidy now trying to get aggressive. And here's what they're doing. This is what they said. Sid, beautiful pain suppression on the Cassidy, keep him aggressive. Shane with the Barkskin. Now they're trying to push Froffsy over. Can they do it? Couple of seconds left here until Asgrath
so close.
Any big heals here. I don't know if Froffsy's actually going to be able to survive. The only thing that can keep him alive, I think, is pressure. Maro needs to land the polymorph. He takes the Shadow Word Death. He connects with the full sheep. There's the stun onto Cassidy.
That's it.
Big damage onto Cassidy. He needs to duck for cover. And even if you don't kill him here, it's not going to be a great situation. But I do think he's going to go down and gets counterspelled. Maro blinks.
Froffsy, it's a full trap.
Oh,
it's a full trap!
No,
it's a full trap!
Not again!
Not again, dude.
Okay, well, Facile and Relzah, they get the rematch, 57% dampening. Relzah going to be going for a drink. This is absolutely insane. I mean, Facile right now trying to slow down the drinking. He's pushing for it, maybe finding a trap. It's so close!
Facile dead?
Actually getting the stun. Facile could just die. He's got the aspect of the turtle. Relzah, he doesn't have Trinket, but he's got the Rapture, so big shields if he needs it. Facile can just hide behind the pillar, try to line of sight right now. A little bit of trouble, though. The trap does land. Nice trap there by Facile. He needs to slow down damage until Relzah can get in line of sight of Facile, finally gripping him to safety. If he can top him off, that's going to be best-case scenario for Relzah. He needs to land some heals. Gets interrupted on the Shadowman. Nicely done there by Maro. Potential Ring of Frost drops out of the bash. It looks like Polymorph will land on Diminishing Return. Maro going for a reset on a Shifting Power. Facile just flailing to stay alive. And look at Cassidy. This is such a high a pressure moment for him, just watching his team try to stay alive. If Skill Captain win this, Ad Hoc Gaming loses the series.
Yeah, we're going to see if they can do it here. Facile definitely wants his revenge here. Askarov sitting down for a drink here once again. What is Facile going to do? Is he going to go after Maro here? Is he going to try to stop it? He gets the flare. He connects with the flare. He stops. Askarov does get a tick or two there. Relzah now sitting down for a drink as well. And I really think this is the main story of the game. Just to try to keep the pressure up. Try to stop the drinks as much as possible. And just do as much damage as you can to Maro with your pets. Don't ever actually poke out into his line of sight and let him cast frostbolts on you. Just line of sight him and let your pets do the heavy lifting. Even if they get Ring of Frosted, even if they get the crowd control, it doesn't really matter. Just make sure that Askarov isn't drinking and that you're not taking damage from Frostbolt. And if you do that, I think Facile and Relzah could win this one. They still have a mana advantage here on the side of Skill Cap. And I mean, make no mistake, these are incredible players on both teams here. So this could still be anybody's game. Maro right now just going after Relzah, actually cleaving them both down here. Beautiful damage from Maro, and Relzah has no mana really to keep anybody alive, and let alone himself. And now Askarov sitting down for a drink, definitely getting a big lead here. Relzah now trying to get aggressive. Let's see if this drink is going to pay off. Askarov actually not able to get that much mana. Facile now activating his Bestial Wrath, getting aggressive once again onto Maro. And if he can stop Askarov from drinking just with his damage, I think that's the ideal situation. Nice Intim stun here on the Innervate, followed by a Freezing Trap. That's got to be the Ice Book of Maro coming up shortly.
Right here, full fear. There's no way, right? He's trying to hold on to it. Ice blocking at 20%. There's no way they master spell. Relzah needs to try and drink. Maro cancels it to go for the kill. Facile tries to go for a Scare Beast on Askarov's travel form, but doesn't find it. He's still in hypothermia. Big damage on Maro. Race to the finish here on match point. Is he going to close it out? He does. Facile netting the kill. Askarov cannot save him, and we're going to game 5. And this is a claw biter. Ad Hoc Gaming. Unbelievable.
Wow.
You guys see Cassidy smiling at the end there.
I did. He was so excited his team got revenge on Hook Point. But I think their toughest challenge is yet to come. Ad Hoc Gaming, they're managing to stay in it. I mean, this series is almost, we're about an hour and a half into the series. These games have been grueling for both of these teams. It's a battle of endurance as well. I mean, it's a battle of ability, but also endurance. They have to stay focused for these games that are going upwards of 20 minutes long.
Oof. At least though, the players only have to do this one game, and then that's it for the rest of the day. They can put all of their energy in this series, despite how long this game is going, and be good for the rest of the day. But we are seeing that last game right here, Zico.
Yeah, I mean, here, this was such a delicate opportunity here. If Relzah doesn't get sheeped, if he prems that sheep, I'm pretty sure that Cassidy stays alive. The only reason why Cassidy had to abandon that push when they had that winning situation was because Relzah got caught in crowd control, and that's because obviously Maro is just free casting, had a lot of time to go through those fakes and to build up that damage, but still, they didn't let that shut them down. Facile did a phenomenal job shutting down the drinks in this match, and just so hard, especially on this map as well, to really avoid that damage. And Facile just avoiding the damage of the Frostmage, avoiding the Frostbolts, avoiding the Druid, and also at the start of that 2v2, using his freezing traps on Maro just to kind of regain control of the match a little bit, regain control of his positioning. Small things like that definitely snowballed and gave them that 2v2 win. So definitely not what you expect to cast two back-to-back 2v2s like that, but it's been a really fun series so far.
Yeah, definitely agree. I can't even. I don't think I've ever seen 2 cross kills in one series. Do you? Have you guys?
I feel like it has happened. I don't remember though.
Yeah, surely, but at least as long as I've been around, I've never seen one. So maybe we get one here in game number 5, because these guys are tied up right now, and it's a skill capped map choice. So larger map here. If Supatees is right, we're gonna go to Empyrean Domain, and this is gonna be a difficult one for Ad Hoc Gaming. We saw how they struggled here in that last game on Tolvaron. There were a number of opportunities where they could have shut that game down, but they weren't able to get the win last time we were on a map of this size, Supatees. So what is it going to take if they wanted to win this series here?
A miracle. That's the other side of this coin, is that they've battled this hard and this long, and I feel like this is kind of the wall. Like, you're just staring at 100 feet of brick Frost Mage wall. Just you're gonna be stuck in the pillar. You're gonna be get AoE'd. You're never gonna drink. Their druid's gonna drink. You're gonna be dead all game. Like this is the gauntlet. This is like I'm trying to think of like the best metaphor for this. Like it's an obstacle course. It's an obstacle course of death. Just frozen orbs flying in from one side, chilling ice blizzards on the other. You're trying to get to your target without dying. You're never going to be able to stop a drink, so you got to beat a full mana druid. Why did they go to Ash? This is a mistake. I feel like they're picking this to troll me. I swear they're picking this to troll me. Empyrean Domain is the best big map. It is the best big map.
Happy.
And if you don't select it in a series when you're playing a Wizard Cleave, you're wrong. I hope they lose. I hope Skill Cap wins. This is wrong.
God.
This is not the right map. This is not the right map.
Aww.
They could have sensitive eyes. I mean,
Okay, that's the only legitimate reason not to pick Empyrean Domain is that it's too bright. Fair.
Yeah, I mean,
But if you want to win, you put up with it. You put on some sunglasses and you play it.
Well, look at Maro. Maro is already prepared for Empyrean Domain, and Cassidy's not. So I don't know. Maybe that's why. But, I don't know.
I think
Ashamane's
Adhoc
a
can
great
win
map,
on
though.
Ashamanes, but I feel like there's no way they can win on Empyrean.
Is it just the size of the pillars and like the
I think
Yeah.
so,
the
yes.
outside space
toothpicks.
in Imperial?
The
Yeah, the
toothpick
toothpicks
pillars.
that you were calling them yesterday. The toothpick pillars.
You get dots on everything. You get to hit whatever you want. You don't have to go anywhere near the pillar. It's the best map in the game for Doublecaster. You literally just get to hit
Pretty
everyone
nice.
for free and no one can hit you back. I swear there's no better map than that.
yeah,
well.
It is quite good, but they're not going for that one. They're going for Ashamane's Fall instead. And Adhoc Gaming, maybe this isn't so impossible for them now. I mean, this map is a little bit better. It's still difficult. I mean, it's a large map, a lot of open space. Skill Cap can kind of still play that same sort of strategy we've been seeing from them, where they just kind of pull away, try to bait people in the open, and then try to really pressure Relzah if he's going for a drink. But yeah, Adhoc Gaming, it's just all about those moments in the match where it just seems they basically have traded everything to get to the point in 50% dampening where they can push and kill through heals. And it is a difficult thing to do, but that's the win condition for Adhoc Gaming. I'm pretty convinced of it at this point after watching all these games. They need deep dampening to kind of push through all that defense.
You know what Maro's talking about right now? I know exactly what he's talking about. He's going, did you guys hear Super Tease? He wants us to lock in Empyrean Domain. We're going to lock in Ashamane's Fall and prove him wrong.
It's wrong. I don't care what. What?
Oh!
I don't even think Cassidy understands.
Look at
what's going
Cassidy.
on.
He's like, wait,
Look,
what?
like he was kidding.
What? What?
Okay, all right, we can do that.
I feel
Empyrean
like
was free win. It was a free win. I swear it was a free win. Why are they switching?
I'm really
their call?
curious. I'm really curious how this goes. I personally think Adhoc Gaming is going to destroy them, but
Yeah.
I've been proven wrong by Skill Cap before and their Warrior Mage. But just looking at this matchup, I think Adhoc Gaming, they got this. I think this is a throw from Skill Capped.
Is it going to make Blizo really vulnerable?
No, Maro.
Maro?
Maro is really vulnerable. I mean, so I feel like the big problem for Maro, personally, is number one, he has to deal with the Roar Sacrifice on the Fire Mage. And then number two, it's not easy to reset your combustion. So Fire Mage, obviously most effective when you get consistent combustions out. You can Fireball a lot, you can get your Shifting Power out, but it's really hard to get away from a Feral Druid as well as a BM Hunter. So getting out all those casts, I think is going to really limit his opportunities in the match. But I'd like to see him prove me wrong.
Yeah, me as well. This is new choice for Skill Cap. They've stuck with this composition, that previous composition throughout the entire series, and now when they're down to the wire and you'd think that they would have the advantage heading into this game, they are switching things up completely, basically doing everything the exact opposite of what you guys have been saying this entire time. So we're going to see if this is the right choice for them. I think we have a slight delay as well. So clearly these guys are sort of figuring things out here, talking things over before we head into this game. And I don't know. I'm real nervous for Skill Caps.
I'm real nervous for Method.
Yeah.
I'm real nervous for Method.
Yeah.
Like what? I swear, Empyrean Domain, Shadow Priest, Frostmage Druid was a free win, the easiest game of your life. Just, what?
Just broken.
What? Why do you want to go Warrior Mage? All of a sudden out of nowhere. Off of hook point? Like, it's hook point. Who cares? Like, okay, it was a cross kill. You should have been happy that it was a cross kill. That shows how good the matchup was. That you could even get a cross kill on your worst map. Like, did Froffsy have to like leave? Like, did he have some previous arrangement he needed to get to? Maybe like what?
That could be it. Honestly, wasn't it him that his like he DC'd?
He DC'd in one of the games.
I mean, that could be exactly it. He could just be having an unstable internet connection right now or something like that.
So this is interesting for a few different reasons. We want to talk about Method again. So Method EU, they have not played against Ad Hoc Gaming. So I have a theory based off how these teams are doing. If Ad Hoc Gaming can win this one, I feel like Method EU's qualification comes down to beating Ad Hoc Gaming. They have to beat everyone, including Ad Hoc Gaming. And I think if they end up losing that, they can't qualify. So Ad Hoc Gaming, if they can beat Skill Capped, first of all, that's great for them. But what's scary for Method then is what matters the most is that they can beat Ad Hoc Gaming as well as everyone else. And I think that it's going to be tough. I mean, you can see Ad Hoc Gaming obviously extremely good, even into the Shadow Priest Mage of Skill Capped. They're making it so close, in fact, that Skill Capped has actually switched off the Shadow Priest Mage. I don't necessarily agree with it, but they've done it, and I guess we're going to be waiting to see what Skill Capped can do with this Warrior Mage.
There has to be a problem. Froffsy must have some technical problem. There's no way. There's no way. There has to be. He's like his DC'd or something. Like, there's no way. Based off how this series is going, you think that it makes sense to change on your map pick? I could understand if it wasn't their map pick, like if it's a small map and they were worried it wasn't going to work, and they do Warrior Mage, like that makes sense.
They had a cross kill on Tolver and they nearly lost the 2.
Yeah, but that's not Empyrean. That's why I told you it wasn't Empyrean. Empyrean makes all the difference.
I don't think they value Empyrean as highly as you do, man. I think
people need to learn.
I think they're taking their chances with the Warrior Mage here.
Is so confused. You're just so stressed out. It's okay. It's gonna be alright. You're not in this matchup. Nothing's gonna happen to you if they lose.
He wanted to see his map work out so bad.
I wanted to see Imperial Domain God Comp so I could be look, they won in 2 minutes. Best map.
Oh, so that's what this is about.
Okay.
You just want to be right?
Okay. So there's a few things. I could agree that Shadow Priest Frostmage Druid is really good on Empyrean Domain. I could agree the pillars are small. I could agree Blizzard hits lots of targets. Are they going to win in 2 minutes? No. I don't agree with that one. So, I mean, that's a different discussion now. Here we go. Skill Cap versus Ad Hoc Gaming. I think this is going to be a really difficult matchup for Maro, but Maro obviously an incredible mage. I'm curious to see how he can get it done in this particular matchup. I think he's going to be under fire, constantly interrupted. His combustions are going to get basically countered by the Roar of Sacrifice. But let's see what Skill Cap can get done, because they're going to have to shift gears as well. Keep that in mind. Maro going from Frost to Fire, and Asgrath going from Druid to Paladin. They have to change their mindset and their playstyle in a matchup like this.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see here what they end up doing, what the strategy is. This Warrior Mage Paladin, definitely not something that we expected. And judging by the player cam as well of Cassidy, he was definitely... First, it was like a little bit shocked, but then he started like smiling and laughing a little bit. So I don't know, he looked somewhat confident. We'll see what they can do here, what the target of choice is going to be right now. Relzah is looking quite juicy. They're going after Blizo here. They're going to be rake stunning him up, getting full bleeds onto Blizo. No traps being committed just yet. Relzah now caught up in a Hammer of Justice. Potential for a Blinding Light here. Maro gets kicked on the sheep. Oh, nice stun there to shut down the Blinding Light. Here comes the counter setup. Relzah getting counter spell. There's a double fear from Relzah, and they land a trap as well. Maro with an excellent alter time, though. Looks like he's going to be able to survive here. Relzah, unfortunately, was caught up in that fear, and now he has no Shadow or Death. Nice kick there by Cassidy, shutting down that polymorph them onto Relzah. I don't don't know if he has a Shadow in depth just yet. Again, it looks like Maro's trying to fake it, but I don't know if he actually had it. Now he does fake it. Full sheep secured. Who are they going to go after here? Maro gets a Ring of Frost as well. And on the pads, he's going for the resheep. He gets interrupted. There's the blinding light. They're going after Facile. Blizo is here on the Warrior doing a lot of work, but I don't think Facile is going to be in too much trouble. No.
Okay.
He has to trade the Exil heal as well as his Aspect of Eternal. So beautiful opener so far for Skillcat.
Let's see if they can keep this up. It is still Blizo on the Arms Warrior to take into account on the side of Skillcap. They've got the most important cooldowns out of the way here from Facile. If they can maintain uptime, they've got a full Storm Bolt. This is devastating. Relzah has to trinket and trade out the Rapture despite the stun lock on Maro. Now another very important cooldown out of the way for Skillcapped here. However, they're swapping to the Warrior. Interesting tactic. Freezing Trap on Azkarath, trying to pressure down Blizo. Die by the sword. They managed to force out. Maybe they can get a Rallying Cry with a couple more points of damage. They don't have it. And he will begin to recover with that save by the Light Proc. Now getting on to Cassidy. Not able to connect to Facile. Still just trying to max out damage. Cassidy needs to be careful about getting stunned behind the pillar here. He's going to pull in line of sight of Relzah. Relzah's trying to avoid Maro, but here comes another Storm Bolt. Every Storm Bolt on Facile could be death. Relzah's just trucking out big Shadow Men's, dropping the barrier and trying to recover. But this wasn't the Avatar. Blizo baits out the barrier, and now they have Avatar. Now they have Combustion. I think it's just a free win at this point. You just fear Relzah, you stun Facile, and it's game over at that point. Just trade cooldown, stay aggressive. Here comes the Avatar. Blizo is lining up. Azkarath is trapped, though. He's going to trinket out and recover. There's the fear on Relzah. Where's the stun on Facile? They just need any stun on Facile. He's just running circles right now and avoiding the fight while Relzah was feared. There's the Hammer of Justice. Now where's the Combust? Are they going to hold on to it? They don't want to get that Roar of Sacrifice. They managed to survive the Hammer of Justice for now, but there's still a Polymorph for a couple of seconds. Facile is on the run, trying to get away from Blizo. Relzah repositions. They don't net the kill. Ad Hoc Gaming get the trinket out of Azkarath, but there's still a lot of cooldowns to get through on their side. Relzah's mana not in a great position. Facile just getting trucked still by Blizo. Cassidy can't really help him out too much. Pummeled on his Cyclone. Trying to help out. Blizo leaps in with a sharpened blade, reducing a ton of heals. Facile disengages, gets charged on his disengage. Blizo is getting really good uptime. Tons of polymorphs. Facile's just going to die. There's no defense left. They collapse him, and then suddenly out of nowhere, they're making me think, why didn't they just play this the entire series instead of what they just did for 4 games? Because that looked easy, but okay, I guess it's better late than never. It's better late than never.
Look at Maro, he's like, yeah, that worked out.
Yeah,
Great.
like, I
guess we found that out. So, yeah, it turns out Warrior Mage Paladin, when played by Maro, Azkarath, and Blizo, looks pretty good into the BM Jungle Cleave. So I think that was a good experiment for them at the very least, because that matchup was a lot more convincing and didn't go at all how I thought it would.